Lately I've been feeling things change. We've been working hard, no sleep, get it every day. And I swear that we ain't stopping till we pay. Yeah, the pressure on, gotta make it work. Triple play, yeah.
This is Triple Play Fantasy Basketball on a week before the All-Star NBA break and post-trade deadline. We got a lot to talk about. I'm Coach James Lewis. On the other end is Eric Doc Mendelson here on a Super Bowl Sunday, in which a rematch of a couple years ago looks like it's going to be a very, very intriguing game.
Ooh, Doc, James, look at you. You should be doing the football pod. You're just so knowledgeable.
I just mentioned that the game is being played.
So smart. So smart.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no favorite here. It's the it's a pick 'em. And even you don't see that every time in the Super Bowl. Mahomes and the Chiefs are trying to go for 3 straight, something that's never been done in NFL history. On the other end is the Philadelphia Eagles, who are blitzing, running over everybody, and they got all the pieces. Can they get it done? Or is Mahomes going to do Mahomes magic once again?
Wow, James, just keep going. Keep going.
You're
so
pod.
knowledgeable about so many sports.
So, in today's pod, we're going to talk about the week 16, I get kind of like 17 preview because it's a 2-week thing because of the All-Star break. We had a bunch of trades. Some trades that got rescinded back because of failed physicals and everything that goes into that. This is a big week when it comes to fantasy because it gets closer to the end of the year. People are trying to make their way in the playoffs, and these pickups could determine you, like it could put you over, right? You could get a player that is in a new scenario or somebody else that was in front of the player. They become all of a sudden a focal point of the offense. So, Doc, behind me lies the last 2 All-Star jerseys of LeBron James, his first, coming, 20 years ago. And then,
it's
this
kind
year.
It's crazy how much money you waste on LeBron stuff.
I wouldn't say it's a waste. They're going to be in frames, and it's going to be a spectacular scene down here.
Hunting money buying LeBron jerseys.
Yeah. Well, I would say that, you know what? I don't need to give China a shout out, but yeah, shout out China. Getting some of my jerseys for about 40. Like it doesn't cost too much. It's like an investment in a way. They're not going to depreciate. They're only going to go up in value. So, what say you on the trade deadline? Anything like that was super crazy that stuck out to you, other than Luka Doncic being traded for Anthony Davis? Anthony Davis looked pretty good in his first game for Dallas.
I mean, James, is this the craziest NBA trade deadline you can remember?
Yes.
I think I hope this sets a mold for future trade deadlines. Like I think the Luka trade really shook up the league. It's been such a player movement league for the longest time. People forcing their way out, deciding where they want to go, kind of Jimmy Butler being the prime example of that. And I feel like with Dallas trading Luka, this was a swing back to the owners and GM saying, no, we're going to dictate the landscape of the league. I'm going to be very interested to see how things follow suit. And because I just kind of talked about Phoenix, I'm going to be interested to see where Kevin Durant goes this summer. I don't think Kevin Durant stays with Phoenix. I think
that got real messy.
That got real messy.
Yeah. And they had something in plan. And like, honestly, it would have benefited Phoenix the most to kind of get all of that value back. With Kevin Durant said no, and they're like,
yep.
Even though that he doesn't have a no trade clause, and he would have played basketball for the Warriors because
he wouldn't have been happy. But
he would not have been happy. No. But, getting what we see, like we actually just got to see like basically what the offer was with multiple firsts, Kuminga out of it. Like it probably would have helped you with the future, because right now they're in albatross. They are done.
No picks. Salary cap very tied up.
They got to receipt everybody. Ishbia fumbled the bag on this whole situation.
Ishbia is awful. Ishbia is awful. Just proof that being really rich doesn't mean that you're good at stuff.
Yeah. Man, I didn't think we were gonna get there at this point. I do want to go through some of the trades. So I know this is fantasy pod. Please use the thumbnails. If you want to skip through our takes on some of the trade stuff, but I do want to talk to Doc about some of this stuff because I haven't been able to do that. And so we're just gonna quickly scroll through. If it's not mentionable, it's not mentionable. Okay. So like James Wiseman, not mentionable. Kevin Porter Jr., I don't know. Maybe Clippers get some with Blow Champ. Feel free to chime in when necessary.
Hang on here so far.
Yeah.
Alex got bought out by the Wiz. I like Jake LaRavia as a real life move for the Kings, not a fantasy one.
Yeah, well, and he was not going to play for the Grizzlies at this point when,
No.
yeah, he just fell out of rotation with people coming
Gigi
back.
Jackson,
Gigi Jackson in particular.
Vince Williams coming
They
back.
weren't going to re-sign him, so maybe he finds a role to back up some bonus for the Kings.
The Hawks have a weird obsession with Terrence Mann. I'm curious to see if he actually plays, but they've been on him for a while.
Who?
Terrence Mann, the Hawks.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, they got rid of DeAndre Hunter and Bogdanovich, so they're, I guess, going younger there. Bogdanovich goes to the Clippers. I like that for them a little bit to bolster something off the bench to back up James Harden and play alongside. Levert and Niang, that's like those guys were part of the rotation. And, the Cavs, obviously, they're the one seed. DeAndre Hunter's having a career year. I don't know. Is that going to be sustainable?
No.
That one was maybe it works if he plays like he has been this year and you got to start in small forward, but he's been doing this off of like 6 man of the year type of production.
Yeah, I don't think anything impactful for fantasy so far.
Nurkic.
No, because the trade got nixed with Mark Williams coming back.
This one got nixed?
No. I'm saying Mark Williams is going back to Charlotte, so I don't think that helps Nurkic at all.
No. Well, and we have Diabate on today's show because he was going to be a beneficiary of that, and that's kind of might go off the cliff. But
maybe on Mitchell, I like as like a 16 team league ad.
Well, and yeah, like a Heat guy. 76ers get a bunch of second round picks. Jeez. All right, Jimmy Butler looked good in Warriors uniform yesterday. I think that's really actually gonna.
It was a good buy low. If you bought low on Jimmy, congrats.
Yeah. And Miami gets Wiggins and a first round pick when that situation was just disgusting. So could have been worse. Yeah. This one gets rescinded. What was your opinion on it beforehand? I haven't talked to you about this, but as a Laker fan, I was like a fan of the idea of Mark Williams with Luka.
This was a great trade if it had gone through because you're essentially going all in with like rebuilding. And if you can say, hey, we have Mark Williams and Luka Doncic,
you got somebody to dance with Luka.
For the next 5 years, and in the next 3 years, we have LeBron to go with that, and we have all of our role guys, and this is our team moving forward. And then once we get LeBron's salary off the books, we'll be able to do, add more pieces. I love that for them.
Yeah, but it didn't go through because he failed the physical, and that was the concern with Mark Williams is his injury history.
Blessing in disguise for the Lakers.
It kind of was because you get Dalton back, who's one of the best rookies, shooter like this year. Yes,
I'll name 10 rookies better than him.
Okay, 10. Okay, he's still. It was still a solid pick for where they got it for. They still keep their first round pick unprotected for 31 in their swap. They still have something to do in the summertime.
Might not even be around in 5 years. Good just to get rid of all the picks.
Ingram goes to the Raptors. He's such a Raptors type of player.
Gotta love Masai Ujiri.
Yeah.
Never afraid to make a trade.
Nope. We'll see what happens there, and we'll see what if that factors into the production of say Quickly or Barnes or.
But all right, I like AJ Johnson. Terrible. I like AJ Johnson as a future real life guy. Needs to add some weight, but plays very fast.
Wizards bucket, he boomed on somebody. I don't know who he dunked on, but it was
Wizards have 4 of the first 24 picks in last year's draft.
So he's quote unquote Jalen Green's cousin, but he's not his cousin. But they have a really good relation. You know how people like, that's my cousin.
Yeah,
That's
that's my
that's
cousin.
AJ Johnson, got Babyface.
That's my cousin.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with Kuz.
I like him.
Obviously,
I like that
Chris
for him.
Middleton. It looks like you have double ankle surgery. He looks done. They could have got 2 first rounds for Kyle Kuzma last year.
Yeah.
They should have just done it. The Wizards misplaced that, but they made a lot of moves for going for the future.
Yeah. Drop Valanciunas.
Yeah, Valanciunas. He's got beef. Him and Sabonis. Although aesthetically, like them playing together, that makes no sense. The other team won't get any rebounds. That's not gonna happen.
No
They're
spacing.
the best rebounds. Yeah, no, at all. But they could work in maybe some stints. Moving on, Springer.
Yeah, no, this is bad, James. This is bad. There's like no fantasy implications.
Oh, okay, Caleb Martin for the Mavericks and the Grimes.
Quentin Grimes, I think better, gonna have a bigger role than he did in Dallas.
We'll see. Nothing moves the needle, but this was the big timer. De'Aaron Fox with the Spurs, and his first game just looked like it just made all the sense. And then the second game, he had a game winner, but it was too late. That was
a great game.
This is intriguing for the future. The Bulls suck at everything, and they got nothing in return. They got rid of all their assets except for Vooch, who's still there in purgatory. But I think Sacramento getting Levine in return, and Fox was just very unhappy. It was going to happen, but for them to get 3 firsts in 3 seconds out of it,
I don't think it's bad, but I think everybody knew when they added DeRozan this offseason that wasn't a good fit. And it's funny because they traded Halliburton because Fox was their future and they have neither. This I like this stat that I read about the Bulls. They ended up with more guards after the trade deadline than before.
When they have 100 guards, like what are we?
All right, James. It's 12 minutes in. We might have to get to the fantasy content.
All right. Well, then we'll end on this, and that is Anthony Davis for Luka. What's your take? Do you think that this was everything, nothing, something?
I mean, it was everything. And here's the thing. I wouldn't have hated the trade had Dallas gotten more in return. Had Dallas gotten their additional pick, Dalton Connect, maybe if they had gotten Austin Reeves, and maybe Dallas includes somebody to match salaries with. I don't hate the premise of the trade. I just hate how little they had in return.
Lakers got a bona fide superstar going forward.
They did.
And yes, it'll all come out in a year and a half whether he's going to resign, because he can take his talents anywhere else and get the same contract. The Supermax is not attached here. So Lakers are basically going all in to get him to come back. But I think with the pieces
you make that trade 100 times out of 100.
Absolutely. And Anthony Davis was at peak value. Having probably his best season maybe ever of all, he's had injuries in the past. Here we are. Fantasy basketball games watch week. You see, we go up to Thursday and there's the All-Star break. So this is a 2-week sample. On Wednesday, every team plays. So you're gonna have to sit some guys. On Wednesday, coming back, only one team plays. But it's pretty even if you include the 2 weeks. That 16 teams play with 5. 14 teams play 4. Here we back on a normal schedule here as far as fantasy basketball talk is concerned. So I'm not going to go down and say all the teams because, all of them either have 5 or 4, which is a 1-game difference. You could look deeper into those things, but Nick Smith Jr. right now, he is getting buckets supreme. 22 over the last week, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. 3.3 threes. He's shooting a high percentage. He was once a very, very highly talented player out of high school. Going to Arkansas, it was up and down with injuries. But the kid is a bucket. And they got Trey Mann, who reminds me of him a little bit because he's very offensively talented as well. You can see why they cut ties with Book Knight. He's still a very young guy. And maybe there's something there. To me, he seems like they keep him. He could be one of those 6-man offensive production players off the bench going forward. There's so much you can do with LaMelo Ball, who, as an owner of a ball, he's great when he plays, but they just sit him unnecessarily too much because they're tanking.
Charlotte, worst team that has injury reports in the league. But insert Nick Smith Jr. James, we talked about him a couple weeks ago when he was 1% rostered. Over the last
and then
week,
we talked about him last week. Yeah, we can't stop talking about him.
Yep, averaging 22 points per game. Over the last 4 games, has played at least 32 minutes, double-digit shot attempts, has given you at least 2 threes in each game, and he's given you a little bit of rebounds and assists as well. So definitely somebody that you should add, and I think it was good that we started talking about him first player.
Dynamic on the ball. Now, Diabate is a must-add if the trade doesn't get rescinded. Nurse, I think even with Nurkic in play, it would have worked out because in 20 minutes he's fantasy productive with how the amount of rebounds he gets per minute. It might just be he won't get the opportunity, or they just maybe Nurkic, it just doesn't work out. Anyways, he's been relevant.
I could see Nurkic getting bought out. I think the thing with what went down in Phoenix, I don't think it was just a performance. It seems like there was personal stuff. Draymond Green said on his pod that there's something going on with him, mentally. So I don't see it clicking for Nurkic in Charlotte.
And this is without any information that I've read either. I haven't seen anything. Maybe
this is all just me. This is all just me.
I like your speculation. I love where you're going here, bro. Because I was kind of thinking some of the same things, and as a Laker fan, thinking hey, they didn't get the center, and maybe they end up stealing something for nothing, not giving them any assets. Lakers center. This all kind of is flowing together. Jaxon Hayes right now is super fancy relevant. He might be the number 1 guy for you to go and pick up. In the last week, 9, 7, almost 2 blocks, almost a steal. He's a rim running center who will be maximized with the best pick and roll player in basketball, which is Luka Doncic, pairing with a rim running big. He is a high flyer. That's the one thing that you can give Jaxon Hayes some credit to, but I think with Luka, it's going to maximize him as a player and maybe his production. And guess what? The Lakers just don't have anyone else.
I was going to say they don't have front court talent. Fun fact: I am 2 for 2 career when I bet Jaxon Hayes first basket. But Jaxon Hayes averaging 18 minutes on the season. His career high for minutes per game was 20. So he's never really had a full-time opportunity. But you look over the last 5 games, and he's played 22 plus minutes. So whatever production he's done in the past, you could expect career highs, maybe not in terms of field goal percentage, because maybe that goes down a little bit more when he's playing more minutes, but expect the points, expect the rebounds, and expect the blocks. He has at least 1 block in the last 7 games, 8 out of the last 10. Yeah.
And then I was at the Washington game, and he looked all the part. It was good. They blew the Wizards out by 40. So he didn't play extended minutes, but this is without Luka. And then yesterday, Austin Reeves played the dancing partner, 47, 7-7 for Austin Reeves, that's amazing.
Just don't get in a relationship with Jaxon Hayes.
Okay. I don't know about that. I don't know if we need that for the pod, but
Okay.
I might have to talk to you.
No, it's a public awareness. We just need it in case we have female listeners.
Okay. Keon Johnson, a friend of the pod at this point in the year, and ever since he got to Brooklyn, he's been taking advantage of the opportunity, and he's known as a defensive player coming in. He's giving you offensive production since he got in, and man, there's so many more worse players that you can go and hang your hat on. And I think that he's definitely gotten a role here in Brooklyn. It's going to go to the end of the season, whether they're tanking or not. This guy is going to play, and he can get you some swipes. And his threes, all of a sudden this season, he's been productive there. So shout out Keon Johnson. He might be, first, second team, all, free agent when it's all said and done. And as far as, we're talking about people that you can normally get in most leagues.
I love me a guard that rebounds. 6.8 over the last week. Tickles my fancy.
Whoa. Pause.
I took 20 minutes for us to get our first pause. Love it. That might be a career high for me.
Yeah. So shout out Keon. I mean, we've talked
He's
lot about him. Aaron Wiggs. Hey, Wiggs, listen, 41 in a game. That's absurd for someone that the casual fan. If you're talking about the Thunder, who's the best team in the Western Conference, some people don't even know about him. He's just like one of those savvy picks, and he's grown under this, Thunder system. But he's capable of that. And then yesterday he drops 26, and you talk rebounding guards, 11 in one of them, 14 in the other. He had 6 threes. He's got good mechanics. He's got good flow. He's got good athleticism. There's a lot to like of the former University of Maryland product.
What's interesting? OKC seems to change their lineups around. Like, think about it. When Chet Holmgren and Isaiah Hartenstein were out, they went with a little bit of a smaller lineup. Now Hart and Holmgren are back, and I know Holmgren played 22 minutes in his first game back, but Lou Dort is out. So now they play a little bit of a bigger lineup. So I'll be interested to see when they have a fully healthy team. Caruso just came back too. He missed a little bit of time. So they have a lot of moving pieces. I'm not saying that he will keep this up. Obviously, 23 points per game over the last.
I don't think he will.
It's sustainable, but I'd be interested to see if he's like a 12 to 15 point per game, 3 to 5 rebound, giving you 2 threes a night kind of guy.
Yeah, and he deserves a mensch. And Rutgers is going to College Park today at 12. So after this pod ends, I'll be tuned into that 100,000%. It's Ace Bailey, Dylan Harper Jr. I think he's expected to play versus the Dairy Queen in Maryland. All the NBA scouts are going to be there. It's going to have big implications into the draft.
James is going to be watching the game with binoculars on, watching his TV.
Bub Carrington, local product. He has had ups and downs of a rookie year and coming out as a freshman. And the Wizards did trade Denny Avia for this situation to come out, and Avia had a rough start to the beginning, and he's been amazing after that. But Bub does show those signs that he's going to be a really good NBA player in the future. And
they asked Georges Niang yesterday, recently traded Georges Niang.
Okay.
And what'd you say?
No, I said, okay, I'm curious to hear this. Go ahead.
You haven't heard it?
No, I have not.
The Wizards played the Hawks yesterday, and he gave this compliment to Bub Carrington. He said he's the first player that his age that has changed the scouting report. And he said when we played him earlier in the year and I was with the Cavs, we were told to go under on every screen because he can't shoot. So when we did that yesterday, he responded by hitting a career-high 5 3-pointers made. I think he's going to be a good pro. So I love when you hear fellow NBA players compliment guys. Keep in mind, he's 19 years old. But if he's making those adjustments, I think the future is bright for him.
We got Bub, you got Bilal, you got Kyshawn, and they're all like inconsistent. Like Bilal actually it looks like he's going to be like, if I had to put my finger on like this, he's going to actually be really, really solid. I'm very confident in it.
What's your comp? What's your comp for Bilal at his peak? Like when he's at, let's say, 25 years old, who is his game going to be comparable to?
That's a really good question.
All right, well, you can think about it while we talk about Kyshawn.
Yeah, Kyshawn, I saw him in person. He did not impress much at all. But then he gets on these heaters, and it's like, oh, he's got really good size. He looks a little lost on defense. I ain't gonna hold you, but he shows signs of a player down the future that, and then he gets like I said, he gets hot. I don't know what it is about this kid, but he's hot and cold. But right now, he's had a couple really good games, and I guess 2 of the last 3, 17 points, 9 threes.
Mm-hmm.
Corey Kispert, though, I actually think he's a good player. I think he's nice. I think he's somebody that you can not build around, but like he's like a veteran. Like he's going to be good no matter where he plays. He gets in the mid range. He gets in the three. Like he's not a punk on defense. He don't have the quickest feet, but he's an efficient player. He showed that in Gonzaga. I like Kispert. I think he's going to play in the NBA a very long time. Like there's a lot worse players they could put on the court, and I think Corey Kispert is, even though he's in his second, third year, he's going to be like a veteran presence because he played so long in college for the Wizards going forward. And you got to keep some of those guys.
Corey Kispert in his second.
You've not been a fan of him, but I like him.
He's actually in his fourth year. I mean, here's the thing. I think every team could use a Corey Kispert, a guy
28.
Off the bench.
Yeah,
he's 25.
Is he?
Yeah. Look at okay. James is like second or third year. He's 28, 0 for 2 on this one. Corey Kispert is a good shooter. He's a good role player. He doesn't have a huge contract. I think every team could use him. Now, do I think that he's going to be a building block? No. But I don't think that the Wizards should be in any rush to trade him unless there's value there.
Yeah, I'm just kind of blown about being wrong about this. His birthday's in 4 weeks, so he's 26, but I'm still off by a couple years.
Wait, James, do you want to hear my thoughts about who Bilal Coulibaly at his peak would be?
Yes.
Andre Iguodala.
Okay. I mean,
what do you think? Good defensively.
Length. I think that's lofty.
That's lofty as in he won't reach Iguodala?
No. Even at his peak. But
I don't think he'll be as good offensively, but I think like a versatile wing, a good defender, athletic. He's starting to hit a little bit more threes. I don't think he'll be Iguodala of peak Philly, where he was dropping like 23 a game for a season or two. But I think like the role player Iguodala for the Warriors, like that skill set.
You mean the guy that won Finals MVP?
I mean, yeah, good run. Good run.
Yeah, I don't see. I still can't find one, especially because his frame is just a little bit more frail, and he doesn't have the potential to see the court the same way as the IQ of Iguodala. Okay. I also was live in person on an Iguodala game-winning three-pointer against Kobe Lakers on Trevor Reese's noggin. I don't know. I've seen some greatness in Andre. So peak-wise, I think of Andre's best and the explosiveness. I think he has some athleticism, but not the same. But yeah, I still can't put my finger around it. Maybe I'll have some next week. Okay. Oh, last but not least, Golden State with their new trade acquisition of Jimmy Butler, they've already had like issues with kind of like perimeter play and people that can shoot from the three with their players with like Draymond, and then Trace Jackson Davis. Obviously, I don't know if he's ever attempted a three-pointer in the NBA. Quenten Post does do that. He does shoot threes. Quenten perimeter, as some people call him, because that's what his game is. He's a 7-footer, but he shoots from the perimeter. Yesterday he had 18. He hit 4 threes, and then Utah recently 10-7. It's kind of like this is all like we need to at least fix in some minutes. So this ain't like somebody you need to go pick up, but like if you're in deeper league, it looks like he might have a role going forward with this team, at least 14, 18 minutes a game.
Steph Curry drove him home when he at like 1:30 instead of getting an Uber. So if Steph Curry approves, then that's someone that could be on the team for a little bit. He's been fluctuating minutes. I think center for Golden State has never been a mainstream. It's always like, all right, Kevon Looney, and then we'll bench him to try somebody different. And then it doesn't work, and then they go back to Kevon Looney. So Quenten Post right now is that new person they're trying out. James also had Richaun Holmes on here. That's probably a 14-team league ad, just for the minutes perspective.
James did not have Richaun Holmes. Doc did.
No. James had Richaun Holmes on our
Shut up. That is gas.
What? James, how are you going to blatantly lie to our audience? You had Rashawn Holmes on our thing.
You made the Hey.
I made the graphic, but you had him on the list. You're lucky deadline, I can't see your face right now.
Trade deadline. Hey. I can see your
James,
face.
how are you?
Sucks.
How are you blatantly going to lie to Keith?
Shout out Keith. Thank you, Keith, for sticking with us every week. And
I just want you need to own up to this, James. You have to own up.
I will own up that Rashawn Holmes is, but I saw him in person, and I know that, like, okay, so I might have put him in there because Valanciunas probably got traded. I put in names early. I put in names on our list. We make a list early in the week. I never said you
endorsed him. I said you put him on the list to talk about.
It was an early all-star thing, but like things change. So thank you.
You're welcome for holding you accountable.
Okay, but we both agree that he's not good.
No, he isn't.
Okay, there's the reason why he hasn't been playing basketball. All right, well, be safe out there, people. And because it is Super Bowl Sunday, hopefully you can make it to work tomorrow. It should be a national holiday. I mean, this is fucking America. Trump, you putting all these things in place. We don't talk politics here, but like, give us the day after the Super Bowl. Give us the day after
President's Day up a week.
Yeah, let's do it. Like, it makes a lot of sense. Anyways, we look forward to the All-Star shenanigans.
No, we don't. All-Star game sucks.
Okay, I mean, just watch it. Like, let it play out, bro. No. Like, see it out.
Nope.
I don't have any faith in Team Kenny. Team Charles is basically Team Euro or Team International, I should say. Team Shaq is LeBron and the American boys. Like, we'll see. I'm kind of intrigued to see how this kind of plays out, and hopefully we'll get an exciting all-star game. Not really looking forward to the dunk contest that features people that aren't in the NBA. We can fix that. But anyways, I digress. Hopefully we get something good out of it. Positive mindset here, negative Doc over there.
Realistic mindset Doc has.
Okay, that's fair enough. Fair enough. Maybe we get something visually good. For Doc, I'm Coach J. Lil. We appreciate you guys, and we wish you a blessed week and safety. At this point, we say peace. I wish you had a basketball to shoot at, but we don't.
It's coming soon.
Coming soon. You heard the man.